Hi and good morning everyone. It's Dr. Mike Jones here. I'm the Managing Director of Impact Minerals Limited. We are a development company looking to get our Lake Hope high purity alumina project into production over the next few years. And we've recently acquired this project, and hence we're the new player in the HPA space, high purity alumina. So we'd like to come with us on this journey because we think over the next few years, we are going to aim to become one of the lowest cost producers of high purity alumina. We've got a unique deposit here in Western Australia, about 550 kilometres east of Perth. It's a tier 1 jurisdiction, and you know it's one of the best places to invest anywhere in the world. As well as a unique deposit, we've also got a very cost disruptive metallurgical process, and we're now in a pre-feasibility study on this project, looking to see what the economics will look like over the next couple of years. And over that time frame, we're also going to build out our capabilities in metallurgy and our final product specification, which for those of you who follow the HPA space, this is an important part of the entire marketing process. And we believe that we can deliver over the next few years into a high margin, a growth market with significant upside potential. And there's actually a supply deficit forecast in 2026, which is about when we hope to get into reasonable production. So what is high purity alumina? Look, it's used in two main markets. It's used in the LED sector, in light globes, and increasingly micro LED screens in particular. And there's an annual growth rate of about 20% predicted over the next decade. One of the big areas, of course, is in lithium batteries, and HPA is used as a coating to separate the anode and the cathode and keep the batteries from exploding. And if many of you remember the Samsung phones that were exploding a few years ago, that's because the separators weren't doing their job. And of course, with the massive increase in lithium battery demand forecast over the next decade, and there's an annual growth rate here predicted of about 50%, which is huge. This is why we're going to be looking at a supply deficit somewhere in 2026. So look, big demand for this very unique and niche material. Because it's niche, it is actually worth a lot of money. And so the amount that you can charge for the product does depend on the purity. And the benchmark is generally taken at 99.99% aluminium oxide, or Al2O3. And the benchmark price is in the region of about 15 to 25,000 US dollars a ton. Now, that sounds a lot, but you can clearly see that there are different grades. And so less pure material goes for between $5,000 and $15,000. And the high grade material is very expensive at $25,000 plus a ton. However, the markets for those are relatively small. So the benchmark we take is for 4N, or 99.99%, is about 20,000 US dollars a ton. So what does that make of our Lake Hope project? Well, Lake Hope is a player lake, hence the pun in the first slide. It's a salt lake here in Western Australia, and it contains mud. And in the top 2 meters of that lake, we have about 3.5 million tons, carrying about 25%, or 1/4 of the material is aluminium oxide. And so we just recently released our resource, our maiden resource for the area, and it contains about 880,000 tons of alumina, or aluminium oxide. And we believe that most of that will be able to be converted into high purity alumina. So if you do the multiplication, you'll see that there's many billions of dollars worth of value locked in the upper 2 meters of that lake. So the lake is quite amazing, really, because I believe it'll probably be the shallowest, highest grade open pit anywhere. It's high grade. We've got 25% alumina. It's very soft. It's shallow, cheap, free digging. You can see a picture of me here walking across the surface of the lake. There's some very unique minerals there. So as a result, there's no pre-stripping, no selective mining. Our plan is to basically just dig up this material and ship it off-site to an industrial facility somewhere in Western Australia. So it's in essence, it's direct shipping ore. We're going to leave behind a very tiny environmental footprint, a hole only 1 meter or 2 deep on the surface of the lake, which will fill up over time. The lake surface is basically biologically sterile, and we're going to have very low carbon emissions and limited rehabilitation requirements. So overall, it's a very unique deposit. So to go along with that, the nature of the minerals in the lake bed allow us to use a disruptive metallurgical process. And this graph here is a cost curve for the production of HPA. And we believe that the incumbents in the industry at the moment are sort of selling HPA, depending on the nature of the product, somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 per tonne. So we believe that our process will be one of the cheapest production capabilities of HPA anywhere in the world. You'll see in there that we've got, there's a drop in the cost curve there, and two ASX codes there, A4N and FYI. They're both in the HPA space. And A4N, or alpha HPA, is a prime example of what happens if you can get this right in the HPA space. And if we look at the market cap of alpha HPA over the last 4 years, it's gone from about 10 to 15 million up to 950 million recently, as the market has really understood the profit margins and the scope for alpha HPA to expand into the high purity alumina space. And we aim to follow in their footsteps. And so where we sit at the moment, our market cap is about 35 million. This is our share price over the last year. And you can see that since January, we've basically almost doubled in price, or more than doubled in price. Part of that has been driven by the fact that we're part of the first cohort in the BHP Explore program, which some of you might have heard about. And we'll have results coming from that as well over the next few months. But the market cap sitting at about 35 million at the moment. So plenty of room to grow over the next few years as we develop the Lake Hope project and enter the HPA space. So going forward, some immediate catalysts. We've just recently released our maiden resource. We'll be releasing a scoping study in July or August. The PFS is well underway. We'll also be lodging a mining lease application very shortly. And the aim is to get some marketing samples from our metallurgical test work, get that in front of customers, and look to expand sign offtake agreements in 24, 25, and progressively build the plant, and looking to get into larger scale production in 2026, which, as I say, is the forecast period of supply deficit for high purity alumina. So look, it's a very exciting story. It's a very exciting project, and I'd encourage you to take a look at our website, get involved in our investor hub, where you can engage with me directly via a chat room. And we look forward to any questions, and please contact me if you do. Thanks very much.